Hello, welcome everyone. This is Amy of the Mystic Rose Tarot. Welcome to the month of Taurus. We are 0 to 10 degrees from April 21st to April 30th. And this is my first Decan reading to welcome in the month of Taurus. As I mentioned, this goes from April 21st to the 30th of April. And our planet of influence for this Decan is Earth. I have the Unified Esoteric Tarot. As many of you know, I work with this deck when I do my readings. So I like to get a different perspective of the different planets and their influences throughout the Decan. So here we have Earth. Can be associated with Venus, but I don't want to detract too much from where I want to stay my focus for this reading. So we have Earth and Taurus, and then our card of influence for the minor arcana for the astrological Decan is the 5 of discs or pentacles or coins. And I'm going to introduce various cards that represent that suit and 5 and how it influences this particular Decan week. So we're 0 to 10 degrees, so we're in the early part of the sign. And then when we start going to 10 to 20 degrees, we start moving towards the middle part of the sign. And I feel with my experience doing these cards and practicing with the Decans, from what I've been reading, I feel the 10 to 20 degrees of each astrological sign for each month actually fully represents, I just feel, represents the characteristics and the energy of that Decan for Taurus. So I will explore that when we get into May 1st and we go into the second Decan. But for now, here we are. This is the Unified Esoteric Tarot. And as you can see here, it's trying to focus. Just okay. There we go. So with this influence for this Decan, what do we know of Taurus? Okay, Taurus goes from April 19th to the 20th, May 19th to the 20th, give or take every 1 or 2 years. The date falls forward or backwards. So for this year, we are April 19th to May 19th. So we have here the characteristics of the Earth in Taurus. Okay, so Earth is of stability. It's of a foundation. It's of grounding. It's of subtle action, but very focused. And it's action, Taurus, and especially with the influence of Earth, is held in the realm of moving slow. Here we have steadfast. It's kind of hard for this to focus right now. We have steadfast energy during this Decan. And so what we need here is anything that we're pursuing, we need to maintain a level of solidity. And this will manifest a focused direction towards our goals. We have to be mindful at this time of choices and actions that are being made, because this will ultimately affect the success of what we're trying to go to. So Earth gives us, and especially with Taurus being a fixed sign, puts a dedication, a determination towards what we want to achieve. And doing so, we look at the different options that are there for us and working with those resources and those tools. I'm sort of going into the 5 of Pentacles meaning, but it still applies. Any obstacles that we may face are best to be approached in a direct and practical manner. And we have to be careful of straying away. We don't want to go too far from the path that we are focused on. Because in doing so, it's going to delay, it's going to distract, it's going to steer our direction that will alter the outcome of what we're looking for. So for this week with the Unified Esoteric Tarot, let's just be focused, and I'm feeling it already. Okay, we've already entered the sign of Taurus yesterday, and with the creativity, the initiatory energy that we got from Aries, the movement, getting everything going, is we now transform that fiery energy. And we're not letting go of it. It's still very important, but I feel with the earth sign, we're sort of internalizing that energy and that fiery movement that we have. And Taurus is being a little bit more, they're extroverts, but they're internalizing that energy as to the best direction to take in things, investments, relationships, work, how we heal ourselves, where we want to be spiritually, where we want to be with ourselves. This is a time that we slow down, but we remain focused. Okay, have our blinders on. And this is the time that we start doing it. So when we go through the entire decan for the month of Taurus, I'm going to go back. So when we get to 20 to 30 degrees, I'm going to reflect on our previous decans and just see the transformation, the shifts, the influences that we had during that month of Taurus. Okay, so we have the 5 of Pentacles. And I have 5 cards, 6 cards, including the Unified Esoteric Tarot, but I have 5 cards focusing on the different visual meanings and also the landscape, the visual energy that's being represented in these cards. So the cards that I'll be working with today are going to be the Pagan Otherworlds, Tarot of the Holy Light, Dreams of Gaia, and Forest of Enchantment. And these scenes will all be different, and they have different views of how to approach conflict, not getting lost, not internalizing so much, survival, strength of the will. So let me just briefly break down the 5 of Pentacles. I'll just use the Pagan Otherworlds as an example. So here, 5 of Coins, Pentacles, is basically a result of actions and choices that were made. And how one has to work through these situations to move forward. At this time, with the 5 of Pentacles, with some cards, we can see depictions of loss, a lack of support, no sustenance. It is a card of strife. It is also a card of deception. It could be deception that we've done to others, deceptions that have been placed towards us, or deceptions that we've done to ourselves. Like we fool ourselves into thinking that this whatever choice or action we've done is actually going to be in our best behavior, or for our best selves. But we later realize that those choices that we made came from a different place, a place of where there really wasn't a strong sense of authenticity. So with the 5 of Cards, we see what has happened, okay, and how we're going to work through this. It's a temporary situation. The fives throughout the suits, when you look at them, and again, there's different depictions by different creators, but primarily the five is sort of that, it's that in-between place of where it's almost like cause and effect, choices that we've made or where we've gotten to so far, and where are we going to go from there? So we see this as, and we have to be aware, when you get the 5 of Pentacles in a reading, this is something temporary. This is something that we have to work on. We have to internalize what the choices that we had, but we also have, it's a card of survival. We have to move on. Whether the choices we made were in our best betterment or against us, we have to move on from it. And so we have to be careful not to get stuck in these situations for too long. It's okay if it happens because we have to address it, but we have to start seeing the light. We have to start being aware of the influences that are there. Okay, so this segues right into the environment that we see in these cards here. Okay, this is from the Forest of Enchantment. So here we have 5 of Boons. The Forest of Enchantment gives a different interpretation of the Pentacles and coins, but it's a reference to boons. Okay, so we normally see a couple that's in, in a state of despair, very similar to the Pagan Otherworlds. Okay, we have a very cold, snow-scaped environment. And when you think about snow, especially where I live, our winters, I really took an assessment of this past winter because we got so much snow that came in. And snow is a water element, but it's also frozen. Okay, so when you convert that, you're looking at frozen emotions, emotions that are solid. There's no fire, there's no warmth, there's nothing to really start expanding or start melting, to start dissolving that situation. But what's interesting here is we see that light in the background coming from that house, and we see the trail. Try and go a little closer. We have berries here, and we see the light. And it's a sign that here you have very little with you, little resources. But if you look around, there is help, there is support, there is a means that you can utilize what little you have. And that's really important, I feel, with the 5 of Pentacles, is working with what you have and seeing with what you have and making it more fruitful, making it in a way that you can move forward and continue on the path so that you can turn that a little bit of berries or a little bit of pennies, whatever it is. And wisely, this is the thing, you don't want to repeat what you did to get to the 5 of coins. You want to move on from that. So just really see the potential of what little you have and make it grow. You know, see the resources that are around you. You know, sometimes it's right there and we don't see it. We just have to be open. We need to be calm. And what I mean by calm, mentally, emotionally, physically, in our environment, we need to be still to really assess, you know, where we are. And in doing so, you will probably find a little speck of light, like we see here, that could provide some guidance. And this light can come from within, or it could come out from someone who's reaching out to you that you're not really seeing clearly. So this is from the Forest of Enchantment, if I didn't say that already. You know, it's how are we going, what direction are we going to take with what we have? And to be mindful and open to opportunities that are there, that are right there in front of us. We may have to make sacrifices, which have already taken place. But when you're in a situation like this, the only way things can go if you're mindful and bring awareness. This is so important with the Five of Pentacles, awareness to see the light, to see the positive of moving ahead. You just need that moment to heal. Remember, it's temporary. You don't want to get stuck in the situation for too long. And then you slowly move on. You build up your strength. The Lumina Tarot and the Dreams of Gaia. Okay, these are two different landscapes and interpretations. Here, this is the Lumina Tarot. We have the apple. The apple is normally signifying abundance, fertility, good health. But here in the position of 5, we're seeing how we really didn't take care of the situation fully. And we let some things slide. And to a point to where it's actually not very appealing. You know, we have an apple here that's rotting and the core is exposed. This is a card of being vulnerable. We've been exposed. Our weaknesses are showing. And so this card is something that we need to be very careful with. How are you going to turn that vulnerable nature around and make it more for your benefit? This is a test of the human will to survive and to regain the vitality that was once had, to begin healing from the inside out. So we're trying to bring this source. We're trying to find, again, I mentioned the light. What's that influence? Where's that influence coming in so that we can regain that confidence and know that we can move on? But this card is clearly of not seeing everything that was there and making these these actions and choices that didn't work the best way that we thought they would. And this is what's happened. We become exposed. Excuse me. All righty. One of my favorite decks here, the Lumina, or not the Lumina, I'm sorry, the Dreams of Gaia. Excuse me. Here, this card is clearly depicting deception. And this is the thing that's interesting. This deception can fall, as I mentioned earlier, can fall in many different ways. Externally, from someone who deceived you. Secondly, you doing the deception, and this card's calling you out on it. 3, deceiving ourselves. And it's almost like angel devil in a sense. We're seeing two contrasting moments here. Choices that we made. Sometimes people are not aware that of their actions and what they're doing, and they're actually playing games with people. And it will catch up to them. I feel this card in particular, this is actually with the element of earth, so it's 5 of earth. I feel this is more of really seeking honesty within yourself, because this isn't what's happening here in the scene. there was a situation where no one was upfront, and it's caused strife, pain, distrust, disappointment. We also have to watch for manipulative motives. And we have to keep our guard up for that. We have to watch, again, awareness. And being grounded, we're going back to the steadiness that we see here with the Unified Esoteric Tarot. This can be avoided. This scenario can be avoided. And it's just building that inner trust. And that comes with experience. Okay, there are times that we are going to make wrong choices, and we're going to have to suffer any consequences or deal with issues that may arise at that time. You have to be held accountable for what you've done. Okay, and take the responsibility that comes with making these not correct choices. Okay. So here, again, let's watch what's going on. Be that outsider looking in, and if you're in a situation like this right now, where there's a possibility of deception happening, this is almost a card of karma. Just be mindful and to be aware of the responsibilities that come if you're taking a riskful action or choice towards something, because it will possibly go against you. And you can move on from it. You know, let's say you were the one that was deceived. You will heal and you will move on. But if you're the one that's doing the deception, and you get called on it, and you make amends, there's still the action that was made. And that gets buried deep down inside, and it'll manifest in different ways. It may resurface. That deceptive nature may arise again. That's when you have to be careful, and that's when you have to catch yourself. So to avoid a situation like this, just be honest with yourself. You know, admit, make amends, move on. The next card I have here is the Tarot of the Holy Light. I always end my Decan readings with the Tarot of the Holy Light because it is esoteric. It holds meanings. It takes more of a philosophical approach to the meanings that we know with the suits, with the wands, the swords, the cups, and the coins. So I mentioned that we are here with the Unified Esoteric Tarot, with the influence of Earth and Taurus. Here is the Tarot of the Holy Light. Astrologically, I don't want to detract too much. We're seeing the influence of Saturn and Taurus. Saturn is the planet, discipline, limitations, traditional ways of thinking, staying on that path, being disciplined. And this placement actually works good as an influence in Taurus. You need to have some direction, and you need to have better focus. Saturn and Taurus, the planet, is a wonderful influence. And with Taurus being steadfast in their nature, it understands, the sign understands the energy of Taurus. It's like, sure, yeah, let's hone down on things and just really focus on what's important. So here we go with the esoteric aspect of this. here, you may not see it. You have to spend time with the cards, basically with the 5 of discs and its influence of the Saturn and Taurus. What we're seeing here is the subtle influences of desire versus responsibility. So this is how we would see situations and how we use our own free will when it comes to circumstances that may seem very tempting. And you see here, we have a beautiful scene here. We have a lot of energy. We have almost similar to the horns. We have the crescent moon making itself known. And we're seeing a lot of light and positive energy. If you look here down below, we're seeing that there's not much, there is some growth, but there's not really a lot of work. There's not really a lot of effort that's being shown here. This is almost like our external side, things that we desire and what we want to attain. It's all up here. But here we're seeing quite the opposite. We're seeing energy that isn't being motivated. We see a few influences. We have the scarab. This looks like the mask I'm relating to the bull. A little bit of abundance, but not a lot. And the tools here, I'm going to move this in a little closer. The tools here are, they're not in motion. Nothing's being done. It's like you started working and then you stopped. Something came in and distracted you. So with the tarot, with the holy light here, with the 5 of discs, there's a natural attraction. Okay, and Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus, so it's things of comfort, things of beauty, art, things that make us feel comfortable, and that's the desire aspect of this card. And how to balance that, the desires that we work hard for, but also maintaining our responsibility so that we can continue maintaining what we've worked so hard for. You know, keeping a roof over our heads, investing into property, maintaining investments that you've done financially, maintaining investments that you're doing in relationships and towards your career. This is all about disciplined choices and making these choices in such a way that will create a welcome and positive outcome. And again, we have to watch of outside resources that may come in and move us away from this. We may have put too much investment into our desires, and we're forgetting other responsibilities. And so it's creating this equilibrium between what needs to be done, but also to please ourselves. And that's a Taurian trait right there. Taurians will work hard for something that they really make an investment into. So that for the most part, I want to say they're very careful with their choices when it comes to things of health. They have to be mindful. And by making those careful choices and staying on the path, you will start seeing the results come back. So with this, we're seeing what we can gain. Again, taking control of our free will. And when we have that situation and not being persuaded, not being distracted by other people that are saying, no, do this. You start listening to yourself. Remember here, okay, we're trying to avoid this. Okay, there are times that we cannot avoid it, but if we can at least learn from that situation that we've been in once before, deception as well. We can learn how to work through it and to move on. Kind of dance with that energy. And it's a learning lesson. You know, we can't let our guard down. In doing so, we're not protected. And anything external, manipulative, can cause a situation that would have been positive, negative. Because when you let your guard down, you're vulnerable. Your shield is not there. And there's an open portal opportunity for something to come in and just change everything. So remain steadfast. Okay, let's remain steadfast, direct, aware, and what you feel to be in your own best interest. So I feel the best way to use the Five of Pentacles overall is bringing in that awareness to the situation that was a cause for concern. Know that it is time to move on and to remove any obstacles that were either made by you or through the actions of others. So we need to release anything that's preventing us to grow. And that's what we have here, especially with the Five of Pentacles, Five of Earth. If there's something stagnant and it's not being remedied in some way, it's going to hold. It's going to stunt any growth, any releasing of the brake from moving forward. Okay, this is a calling to draw our personal will to the forefront and to find the means of moving ahead with clarity and understanding. And in doing so, we start building up that endurance, we start building up that confidence and determination that all will be taken care of. And that's what we see when we go into the sixes, when they fall into the different suits. It's how we dealt with the conflicts, the strife, the self-pity that we may find in the five, or the uncertainty, unclarity that we see in the fives throughout the suits. How we move on from that situation is what we see in the sixes. And so we're going to explore that in the next Decan. So I'm not going to give the storyline away entirely. But with this Decan, the first Decan of Taurus, from the 21st to the 30th, I think this is a wonderful way to manage this energy if there is some conflict of sorts, some despair. Really take a moment and see light of the situation. I know, easier said than done, right? It's like, I can't see the light. I got no money. I don't have a house. What's any light in that? If you stop weighing the negative aspects of it, you will see that there is an opportunity to move on. You have to let go of that way of thinking. There's work out there. There are ways that you can find accommodations. Be safe, of course. But if you are resourceful with what you have and learn how to work with those resources, those tools, that energy that you have to move forward, that will, you may surprise yourself and see some interesting results come from it. And again, this has to deal with how much work you want to put into it. Steadiness, awareness, and being direct and focused. Those are some of the key words here. And watch out for being vulnerable. You may already be there. You don't want to That's as far as you can go. This is as far as you can go. And you can move on from it. So use that stubbornness, the strength, determination that Taurus is known for, to get through challenges. And again, you may surprise yourself. You may, excuse me, I'm so sorry. You may move from this realm of where there's not too much going on, bit of stagnicity, and move up here. Again, this card's focusing more on desires and responsibilities, but those are your choices. How are you going to direct those ways to better your situation? So that's the reading for the first decan of the month of Taurus. Happy birthday to all Tauruses. This is from April 21st to the 30th. I will be back on May 1st or 2nd. I try to do my best to get it right on the day, but if I have a scheduled conflict, I'll try to record it and then have it ready for you on that next day. Any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Let me know how you feel about the decan readings. And I want to make a really special announcement. This Friday, April 23rd, it is April 23rd at 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I am going to have T. Susan Chang, who is the creator of a few books all related to the tarot. She has Tarot Deciphered. And this book in particular is the book that really got me. I'm still working through it. It's called 36 Secrets. There's very few books about the decans. And so when I came across this, because I've been working with the decans for almost a year, I wanted to get a different perspective of it. And T. Susan Chang, this book came out, I think it's December 31st, 2020. And she has another book, Tarot Decipher, which takes more of the esoteric aspect of it. She's going to be my guest. We're going to do a live this Friday on YouTube. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the astrological and a little bit of the esoteric, she is influenced by the Doth system, but also the Rider-Waite-Smith. So when we do this discussion, we're going to keep it very simple. We'll make some reference esoteric wise, but astrologically, we're going to focus more from the book, contents of the book, 36 Secrets, and do some breaking down of the decans so that we can understand it and go deeper into our practice. So I'm really excited about that. So come and join me this Friday, April 23rd at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time to take part. I suggest bring a notebook, maybe have your favorite RWS deck, Rider-Waite-Smith deck, or your favorite Doth-inspired deck. And you can follow through. You can follow along with us as she's talking, and we'll bring up some pointers about some of the influences that we see here. Questions will be welcome. No readings, please. There will be no request for readings. This is exclusively focused on T. Susan Chang and her discussion and knowledge of the astrological decans. Alrighty, so that's it. Again, all my information to stay in touch. I have a website. I'm on Instagram, I have YouTube, I have Patreon, which I don't really talk about, but I should. I have no patrons on that yet, but take a look. And if you're interested in that, let me know. And I will see you May 1st for our second decan, exploring the suit of Pentacles for the month of May. Thank you again, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.